Are we ready? Okay. Welcome everyone to the Municipality of Tweed Council meeting of July 15th. Calling the meeting to order. We always begin with our land acknowledgement. The Municipality of Tweed recognizes that our work takes place on traditional Indigenous territories, including the Huron-Wendat, Anishinaabe, and the Haudenosaunee peoples. We recognize and respect the history, languages, and cultures of the First Nations, Métis, Inuit, and all Indigenous peoples whose presence continues to enrich our communities. Would you please join us now in the singing of O Canada? Thank you. Could I have a mover and a seconder for the approval of our regular meeting agenda, please? Thank you, Councillor Palmetier. Thank you, Councillor Fleeler. Be it resolved that the agenda for the July 15, 2025 regular council meeting be approved as presented. All in favor? Thank you. Are there any disclosures of pecuniary interest? Seeing none. Could I have a mover and a seconder for the adoption of the minutes from the June 24th, 2025 regular council meeting, please? Thank you, Councillor Valiquette. Thank you, Deputy Mayor Demarche. Any questions on said minutes? Seeing none, be it resolved that the minutes of the June 24, 2025 regular council meeting be adopted as presented. All in favor? Notification of closed meeting. Council will hold a closed meeting during the regular council meeting pursuant to Section 2392 of the Municipal Act 2001 SO 2001 C25 as amended to consider the following matters. C, a proposed or pending acquisition of disposition of land by the municipality or local board, Hunt Road dump site, waste site closure plan. Mayor's remarks. Could you get it? Sorry. The municipality of Tweed was without question the place to be in June and July. Congratulations to Cindy Cassidy, Devine and Robert Palmetier, and to the many volunteers, including municipal staff, for organizing an incredibly successful Ride for Dad event. Hosting over 1,000 four-wheelers is no small feat. We are hopeful that this will become an annual tradition. Kudos as well to the Tweed and Hungerford Agriculture Society for delivering another memorable country fair. Thank you. Many thanks to the Tweed and Area Arts Council for presenting the front porch ruckus throughout the village. And a big thank you to Jim Keniston for marshalling this year's Canada Day Parade, to Cindy Chow and staff for all the behind-scenes preparations, and to our many sponsors for helping make the day a huge success. Thanks also to the Tweed Lions Club for launching their 21st season of Music in the Park, featuring 8 musical acts throughout the summer. On the individual front, congratulations to Pam Rogers on being named Legionnaire of the Year. We also celebrate 2 of our young athletes. Siobhan Cassidy was awarded the Central Hastings School Carm Donato Award, the Friends of Central Hastings Award for community involvement, the Dr. Kelly Moore Award for academic commitment, and the Leadership Award, an exceptional accomplishment. Nate Rajat was named Junior Male Athlete of the Year. Well done, Siobhan and Nate. Thank you to MP Rick Bressie for supporting our submissions to the Seniors Community Grant Program. Ontario is investing $54,100 and 3 local initiatives. $25,000 to St. Mary's of Egypt Refuge to combat isolation, fight ageism, and build self-reliance. $4,100 to the Land O'Lakes Curling Club for an intensive senior fitness program. And $25,000 to Tweed Legion Branch 428 for their Senior Veterans Harmony Lunch Series. Also of note, Gateway Community Health Center will be hosting community breakfasts every Wednesday this summer from 9 to 10:30 a.m. as a Food for All Committee initiative. A friendly reminder that if you have an abundance in your garden this year, then please do not hesitate to share with St. Andrew's Church. They will make sure that it gets to those in need. And hot off the press, St. Andrew's has arranged to have fresh vegetables picked up at St. Mary's of Egypt every Monday morning. I love living in a community that cares. Thank you, Deputy Mayor DeMarsh, for chairing our last council meeting. I also want to thank you and Councillors Fleeler and Valiquette for attending the Ride for Dad event on June 21st, the Canada Day Parade on July 1st, and the opening of the Tweed Hungerford Fair on July 4th. Councillor Fleeler also attended the Front Porch Ruckus on June 28th, where I hear his alter ego made an appearance sauntering around town in a hot dog costume to support the Tweed and Area Heritage Center barbecue. As he put it, I made my way to some of the music events and I felt like a real wiener. Thank you for being such a good sport. I would also like to thank CAO Diskey and Cindy Chow for attending many of these events and our staff for what I've been told was a spectacular Canada Day parade. Thank you to Councillor Fleeler and Cindy Chow for representing the municipality at the Children and Youth Planning Table in Trenton. On July 17th, I attended the Hastings County Planning and Development Committee and the Finance, Property, and Personnel Committee meetings via Zoom. I also participated in the County Council meeting on June 26th. On July 5th, I had the pleasure of attending the Bad Habits production of Alice in Wonderland at the MAC, followed by the Tweed Hungerford Fair and the opening of Music in the Park the next day, where I was joined by Councillor Valiquette. We were treated to a wonderful performance by our own Reg Corey. On July 9th, Cindy Chow and I toured potential EV charging station locations with Joule Power. We have 2 sites, each with 3 chargers. The proposed locations are the municipal parking lot and the arena. We have requested to relocate the arena site to the area behind the library. This location is more accessible and closer to our shops and restaurants, while also encouraging use of the library. On July 11th, I met with our treasurer, Deputy Treasurer, and CIO to review our financial position and finalize our asset management plan submission to the province. Our Treasurer will speak later to our finances. I will address our AMP submission. On the 12th, Deputy Mayor DeMarsh and I attended the Actinolite Family and Friend Barbecue. Back to the asset management plan. We have now completed the 3rd iteration of our asset management plan since 2018. As stated, our AMP calls for $13.5 million in annual infrastructure investment over the next 15 to 20 years. That's a projected $270 million in required investment. This is on top of the current $6 million tax levy, which will increase annually. Still, the province has mandated that all municipalities submit their AMP by July 1st, outlining how they will raise the necessary funds, or if not, which services will be reduced and which assets will be closed. I am recommending that we submit our asset management plan as it stands with the following preamble. We recognize that there will be work required on our assets as they age, and we will address each need as it arises. We will not jeopardize our residents' safety by lowering service standards, particularly when it comes to roads and bridges. We will extend the life of our assets as long as possible without compromising safety. However, we cannot determine where the required funds will come from, as we have received no confirmation of provincial or federal support for municipal infrastructure renewal. Our asset management plan calls for an additional $13.5 million annually for the next 15 to 20 years on top of our current $6.3 million tax levy. Without financial assistance, there will be more cases like the township of Ficor Strickland, which with a population of 400 announced on July 8th that it would cease municipal operations due to financial insolvency, facing a 300% tax increase to cover debt. This excludes future infrastructure needs. Their situation is not unique. Small rural municipalities across Ontario, across Canada, will eventually face a similar crisis. For example, the municipality of Tweed has 6,100 residents, 57 bridges, and 800 lane kilometers of roadway. We are looking at potential infrastructure investment of $270 million over the next 20 years. This is, frankly, an unrealistic expectation for a municipality of our size. Since 2023, we have made annual appeals for infrastructure funding, and all have been denied. The municipality of Tweed looks forward to the opportunity to meet with both provincial and federal representatives to discuss our infrastructure dilemma and to identify sources of funding. We are prepared to be creative and work cooperatively with both levels of governments as we tackle the infrastructure crisis facing our community. That's what I would like to see us submit along with our application. But to illustrate the disparity, 3 of our bridges can no longer accommodate fire trucks, ambulances, school buses, or farm equipment. Yet the Premier recently announced a $400 million, 3,500 space parking garage for a Toronto waterfront spa. That's $114,300 per parking spot. Just 5 of those spots could fund one of our prefabricated bridges. These are difficult times, and municipalities are being told to make tough decisions, sell off assets we can't afford, reduce services, and plan for less. If that's the standard we are being held to, then the province should lead by example and focus its investments on what's essential to the survival and safety of all Ontarians. Also, MPP Brise, as parliamentary assistant to the Minister of Transportation, announced our government is investing nearly $30 billion to build and repair roads, bridges, and highways. As part of this plan, the Dunlop Street Bridge in Barrie is being replaced to widen Highway 400, reduce traffic, and create hundreds of jobs. Once again, investments in large urban centers only, while rural Ontario is left behind. While it may be an exercise in futility, I will again reach out to MPP Brise to ask, how can rural municipalities like Tweed access these funds? In closing, Council wishes all residents and visitors a safe, happy, and memorable summer. Thank you. Yes, please go ahead, Councillor Fleer.
Hope I don't get kicked out. Anyway, Your Worship, I years ago, we attended an urban-rural debate at the Good Roads Convention. The urban centers said that they didn't need the rural communities. At the end of the debate, they were hugging us something fierce. So how can we continue to contribute if our infrastructures continue to fail? That's all I got.
Thank you. Okay, we have a number of motions, and the first one, both of these are submitted by Councillor Fleeler. The first motion, notice of motion, re-implementation of automated speed enforcement cameras. And did you want to read your motion there, Councillor Fleeler?
Your Worship, I'd love to, but I can't get on my.
Okay, I will read it for you. Okay, the motion is staff investigate and report back to council as to the options and progress made to implement the use of automated speed enforcement camera in the municipality of Tweed, and if possible, get an update for the August 12th, 2025 council meeting. That has been moved by Councillor Fleeler. Could I have a seconder, please? Thank you, Deputy Mayor Demarche. Okay, Councillor Fleeler, would you like to speak to your motion while
Okay.
I got it right here if you want to. No, go back here, over here.
Okay.
Wait till you get here.
Okay.
You're on.
So we've been talking safety, speeding, all this type of thing for a long time. We've put some instruments in place to try to calm the speeding. I've received a lot of phone calls with people that are in disagreement with those things because of the farm equipment is so huge, they can't get beyond those points. So I would like to bring forward the use of these speed cameras, automated speed cameras. I don't like, I don't know how we're gonna fix this, but everybody here wants this solved. There's danger to the public peace, there's danger to the public lives, there's all kinds of different things. So I would ask if we could get our CAO to investigate these things and try to get an answer for us. We have had a couple of companies present to us at the Good Roads convention, and I think the one that I'm looking at specifically, I'll update the CAO. It makes a lot of sense. The purchase price is very low. The maintenance is done by them. The administration is done by them. And
If I may, I think the CIO has taken the lead on this on your behalf. I'm going to turn it over to you. Would you like to share? Okay. So thank you.
Thank you, and through the chair. Yeah, I've been doing some preliminary research on automated speed enforcement, as they call it, and I have a meeting set up that I will make you aware of with one of the vendors. I think our best option, from what I can see, is to rent. There are two facilities within the province that we have to make application to be part of as processing centers. So there's one in, I think it's Brampton, and another one in Toronto. So all processing of any provincial offenses through these automated speed cameras go through their facilities. So we would have to pay a service fee for each one that is reviewed. There's a rental fee for the camera, and then the cameras must be set up in community safety zones. And then there's other criteria as well. Like, for example, you can't put a speed enforcement camera in an area where you're transitioning from, say, 80 kilometers to 50 kilometers. So there are different requirements that we have to meet, different protocols and criteria that we have to follow. But as I said, I will, I'm working on that, and I will have a report back to council for the August meeting.
Thank you. We're good.
yeah, thank
Yes,
you.
go ahead, Deputy
Mayor to CEO. The municipality of Brighton just implemented them, so they might be a good source of information on how they went about it. Also, I just wanted to say, I don't want this to become a revenue source for the municipality. Rather, I think the focus for me is on community safety. And I don't want to be perceived as a cash machine other than keeping people safe. So I think in the whole process, it would probably be a good idea when you're talking about tolerances of speed and stuff, to collaborate that maybe with staff sergeant, and where, you know, where they would lay a charge as opposed to us just arbitrarily picking a number. So I think that conversation needs to be had too, because I mean, the general public sees them as, oh, you're just generating revenue, not performing public safety, and that's not my intent. My intent is to put public safety. So I think that needs to be just kind of in the mix as well.
I think it's interesting when the perspective that people think it's just a revenue generating thing. The thing is, if you're speeding, we're generating revenue, but that's because you're breaking the law. So that's ultimately the reason why you're being fined, and there happens to be money associated with that. You wanted to say one more thing, and then we'll move on.
Yeah, your worship. So also we have asked for more participation from the OPP. Lately, every time I come to the village, or even around anywhere in the municipality, I see a lot more cruisers around. I saw two constables doling out tickets on Front Street of Tweed, 100 yards apart one morning. So they're out there.
Okay.
They're trying to help. So
Thank you. Yes, Councillor Pons, yeah.
Your worship, as this comes up again and we look at speed enforcement and reducing speed in the village, I still believe we're spending a lot of money and resources on something that we don't have factual information that people are speeding within the village. It's perspective. Like I've spoken about before, if somebody's going through the village at 40 kilometers an hour, it seems safe. If I take a large piece of equipment through the village at 40 kilometers an hour, it feels like that thing is flying. Same with transports and things like that. It's a lot of it, I believe, is perspective. And we are really putting a lot of money and resources towards something that we're just going by like what people say or how people feel. So I just like to caution that. I'd also like to caution that I think as more of these speed enforcement cameras come into effect, I think it distances the residents from the municipality, its staff and council. I think it kind of puts more of a separation between us. So I'd just like to caution that I really think we're pushing towards something that isn't factual.
Thank you very much for sharing that. I've had that conversation with CAO Diskey. We talked about the importance of actually having numbers before we start making some of these huge investments. And then we reached out to our Public Works Manager, Ryan, and we asked him, there was talk about us getting a camera that we put on the light post, and it does measure speed. Okay, like to gather some of this information before we make some of these judgments, because we do believe that there is a perception issue. But at least if we have the information, it will feed into this other aspect. And Ryan, you indicated that they were coming sometime soon.
Just showed up.
There you go. There you go. So we'll begin collecting that information. So thank you very much for sharing that. I know that is also a concern that Councillor Valley-Cat has shared as well. Okay, so this is good. So we'll continue with the study, and at the same time, we'll gather the information. We will make no decisions until such time as we have full information. Okay, just let me go back to the motion. Oops. Be it resolved that council directs staff to investigate the options and progress made regarding the implementation of using automated speed enforcement cameras in the municipality of Tweed, and provide a report to council with at the August 12th, 2025 regular council meeting. All in favor? Thank you. Now we have a second motion. Can you read it now? Are you okay? If not, I can read it for you again.
Okay, thank you, your worship, in
Oh,
regards,
let me see, do I have to say what it is? Yes, okay. Could I have a mover and a seconder for the notion of motion refunding for the repair costs of the John Deere crawler to be taken from the bag tag reserves? That was moved by Councillor Flitter, seconded by Councillor Valley-Cat. Okay, go ahead and read your motion.
okay, your worship, thank you. So be it resolved that 6.2.3 recommendation for funding of the crawler loader be rescinded, and those surplus funds and any other surplus road department funds be placed in a reserve for bridge replacements. And the tag on that was $40,686.93. And be it resolved that the funding for the crawler loader be taken from the bag tags reserves, as the crawler loader is used primarily at the waste site.
Okay, so we've had a mover and a seconder discussion. Yes, please go ahead, Deputy Mayor Marsh.
I can't remember where we proposed to take that funding from for that crawler.
Gravel, wasn't it?
Gravel, right? Okay, gravel, yeah, no, that's fine.
Okay.
Our higher tandem and our gravel with it.
And I think, in looking at this, I think, speaking with the CAO, we were wondering about doing exactly paying for this out of the waste site, but rather than putting this money, leaving it in the general operations, as opposed, so we can use it wherever we need it, as opposed just to roads and whatnot. Go ahead.
Okay, your worship, thank you, but I don't want this to be monies used for things that aren't in the budget. We seem to be doing things that aren't in the budget.
Give me an example.
Um,
Everything we're doing based on decisions by this. For example, the crawler was not in the budget.
No,
but we have to.
but
make
it's
an
a
appropriation.
necessity. So
That's right.
So, for instance, this tar emulsion that we're spraying for erosion, I don't know where the erosion problems are, but that wasn't a budgeted item. And we spent 30 grand on material and equipment plus quite a few hours to prep the sites. I would like to see us not do that at the present time. And these are all engineered projects that we're going after, coming in behind, trying to repair what should have been a noticeable item when they did the project. If there's an erosion issue, it should have been looked after at the time the project was done. I can't,
Okay, if I may, over to Supervisor Ryan, please go ahead.
Through the chair, this isn't an erosion problem. This is crack sealing in our roads. So over time, they eventually wear and you get infiltration of water. This is just a preventative maintenance tool
but
to kind of rehab and fix some of these roads as we go. It wasn't budgeted for, but because of the surplus in our gravel budget, we're trying to utilize all the money we can to preserve these roads instead of letting them be completely failing and reconstructing. So
yeah, and Your Worship, I could be wrong, but I thought I read in there as well that we're gonna continue to spray the guardrail areas where they think there might be erosion. I could be wrong. I'm sure I read that in there.
Was weeds.
Pardon?
Go,
sorry, my mic here again. Through the chair, this is weed spraying to prevent noxious weeds and other grass along our guide rails. So we're not sending staff out there to cut them manually, keep it safe around those guide rails and prevent anything happening to our staff while they're cutting these on our county roads. It's nothing to do with erosion.
So, sorry, Your Worship, but is this proven that this will suppress the weed growth? I don't see. Anyway.
well, I mean, it's just like the county, they have a noxious weed person that they've hired that goes around and sprays in certain areas, these noxious weeds where people are more susceptible to it. We've actually had people reaching out knowing that we're doing this, saying, can we do country roads and whatnot? We can't because it's so darn expensive.
yeah.
But we focus on those areas that we need, but we're digressing because that's not the nature of the
Okay,
motion.
yeah.
Okay, and you were going to say, Councillor Parmentier.
Your Worship, the only change I'd make to this motion, I believe we should take it out of bag tags, but I believe we should move it to general operations. There's a lot of time left in the year. The unfortunate part about having this many roads, this much equipment, is we're making decisions in the wintertime. We still, especially with the roads, we still haven't got to our spring thaw. So we haven't seen what road conditions are going to be like. So I'd rather not put it away because at some point we're going to need it. And we might as well use it wisely and have the ability to use it without scratching and clawing.
Okay, there's been an adjustment to the motion. Are you okay to put it in your general as opposed to the other?
Well,
Oh, I guess do we vote on?
He agrees to change that.
Okay. Okay, thank you. So are you,
Your Worship, the thing that really bothers me is that we've got 3 bridges to install. We don't have any money.
No.
How are we gonna get the money? So that's my whole
Okay.
idea, was to try to put a little cushion there.
But if it's in general operations, then we can pull it out if we need it there. If it's, but if we lock it in, then we're committed to only spending it there. I see, CAO wants to say something, and so does our treasurer.
Is this working? Oh, okay. So we're actually financing the bridges. So I've applied to Infrastructure Ontario for financing for the 3 bridges. So and we're using the OSIF funds and the gas tax funds. So they've been dealt with as far as providing funding for them.
Thank you.
Okay. So the other thing with borrowing money though is we're on the hook. And you know what? How close are we to being in the exact same situation as the Northern Ontario municipality?
Well, we just, in meeting, I'm sure our treasurer will share perhaps later, that we have identified a borrowing limit of about 50% of operations. And the thing is, that is an arbitrary amount that previous councils picked. The province standard is 25%. So we actually have a lot of room, okay, to go before we even get into that situation. The point is that we need to because we're not getting funding. So we can't, if we have borrowing capacity, we're going to need to pursue it only because if we don't, there's going to be loss of life, okay? So we have to be judicial, we have to be prudent, and we have to be wise. And that's what this council will do, and that's what this council has always done. Again, we are digressing, getting into other things which will be discussed later. What I do need to know is, are you prepared to amend? Are you amicable to the amendment to your motion to put
So-
the funds into general?
Your worship, in the best interest of the safety of the residents of our municipality, I will agree to that.
Okay, thank you. All in favor of the motion? Oh, I should read it because you probably made that change. Okay, be it resolved that the resolution for funding the repairs to the John D. Crawler, item number 6.2.3, made at the regular council meeting on June 24th, 2025, be rescinded. And further, that the funding required to repair the undercarriage of the John Crawler in the amount of $4,686 be funded from the bag tag reserves. All in favor? Thank you. Delegations, okay. I'd like to welcome both, is it Kim and Kevin? Okay, Kim and Kevin are going to present to us the Master Recreation final report. I'm going to ask if you could come up to the podium. We also, there was a presentation which was submitted as part of that. And you will walk us, I assume, through your presentation. And so I'm going to turn it over to you at this point.
Fantastic. Thank you, Your Worship. Just get myself a little
That's
bit
okay, take your
organized
time.
here today. Kevin and I are really excited to be here today. We're happy to provide a bit of a background on the current status. So we're going to walk you through that a little bit today. As you can see, we've got a lot of ground to cover. We're very ambitious. I get excited about the work that I do, so I do speak quickly. So if I'm going a little too fast, please just raise a hand, ask me to slow down, and we do have room for questions at the end of our presentation today. I'd like to start very briefly with an overview of what a Parks and Recreation Master Plan is, just to sort of set the stage for this. It is a strategic guiding document that provides for long-term direction and management of assets in the community with the goal of enhancing your recreation services. It's developed to help ensure that future investment aligns with community priorities. So those are your own internal municipal priorities, but at the same time reflect what's happening on the broader horizon. Benefits of this, of course, include alignment of vision, support for investment, enhancing quality of life for residents in Tweed, strengthening grant applications, which I understand based on your comments earlier, sir, are of course very important here, and supports long-term economic value within the community. We do this work over 2 phases. And what we're here presenting today is the culmination of phase 1 of our work. So what we begin with is this background report, which we're here discussing with you today. It allows us to engage community, do all kinds of research, and share with you what that current status looks like. We are firm believers in the fact that we cannot look ahead or make plans for future without really having a deep understanding of what's here, what's working, what isn't, so on and so forth. After today, we basically jump into phase 2, where we start fleshing out those goals and actions. So I'm going to pass it over to Kevin here really quickly so he can share with you a little bit more specifically about some of those actions that we've taken to date.
Doing a little two-step here. I think we're going to be back and forth on a couple of our slides here, but I want to thank Kim for working together here, and also thank council for the opportunity to present today, council and staff, and the opportunity to work with the municipality of Tweed over for the Parks and Recreation Master Plan. So in phase 1, in the information gathering phase, we provided a number of resources including 3 community engagement tools. And those included, one-on-ones with key stakeholders, focus groups, and community survey. We also assessed 16 parks and facilities and reviewed 10 internal documents, such as strategic plans, the CIP, official plan, safety and well-being plans as well. So a lot of obviously internal documents were reviewed. And we've also explored upwards of 21 different external resources and really have significant partnerships with organizations such as Parks and Recreation Ontario, which is a significant advocate for a lot of the work that we're presenting here today. Ontario Recreation Facilities Association, Participaction. These are the types of external resources that we've explored, and also provided a number of communication platforms. We'll address a couple of them here on the next slide. Engaging the community, of course, is a real priority for the Parks and Recreation Master Plan, and included a number of website updates, 2 media releases, and 10 social media posts. And this resulted in, as I mentioned off the top, the importance of engaging the community. So we had 13 interviews with key stakeholders. Many of them are here today. And we hosted 2 focus group sessions with key stakeholders in the communities, and upwards of 20 participants were engaged in that process. And community survey, we were also able to secure 171 responses to the community survey, which again, we're very pleased with. Of course, some of the findings that we're looking to present here today, and there are a number of key findings, and we've categorized them into the following categories, and we'll try and summarize these here today as we go. Certainly, we're familiar, I think many are familiar with the community profile, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And trends and issues, of course, is a very key pillar in the Parks and Rec Master Plan, and the investigation through the survey of parks, trails, and open spaces, the indoor recreation facilities, program and events, and of course, the administrative part. With respect to the community profile, I think most are familiar with the population. And then again, there are, I think, a couple of key findings just to share here today. Of course, the population has really remained about the same, since 2016. Very significant geographic area, which I know you're all familiar with. But certainly for us, the engagement of working in many of the villages and hamlets in the different communities, you can really see the pride and the ownership that happens across the region. And certainly age 65 plus accounts for approximately 29% of the population. So obviously an aging community, which has, ramifications for future planning. I seem to be going very fast here now. So anyway, it's great. Certainly listening to key stakeholders in the community and trying to appreciate the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And again, I think a lot of the information, council is familiar with, but certainly to share, the strengths of the community certainly are the spirit and the volunteer support, and the staff is significantly recognized in the community through our findings. Weaknesses, again, I think the worship mentioned them as well. The aging infrastructure, of course, is a big challenge related to recreation as well, with the limited resources required, perhaps moving forward. Opportunities, and this is certainly where the plan will move to in the future, is the idea of facility development and improvement, as well as the exploration of partnerships, just to name a couple. And the threats, again, very common theme here today with the financial concerns identified through, many of the one-on-one interviews with key stakeholders, and certainly been presented in the community as well. And again, I think the other threat we heard was, the demographic profile. aging community and really trying to attract families, young families to the community as well to sort of look at the future growth opportunities. So I'll turn it back over to Kim to introduce some of the key trends and issues that we were able to find.
Thank you, Kevin. So as indicated earlier, right, we've done a lot of deep dives into a lot of information. So those one-on-one interviews, and you gentlemen all sat through them. There was some depth and breadth to those conversations, trying to unroot what are those real key priorities that remain within the community, speaking with stakeholders, our focus group sessions, that document scan and literature review in particular. We don't want to look at the municipality of Tweed in a silo or in isolation, but we do want to consider what's happening in your neighboring communities at the provincial and national levels as well. So when we look at all of that information as a whole, the 9 items you see in front of you are those things that really sort of came to the top. And as we start to flesh out strategic actions and so on and so forth, it really will be to speak to these following trends and issues. Of course, the one thing that we found, and it was made abundantly clear, was the value of accessibility and inclusivity within the community. That came up in focus group sessions, surveys, et cetera. People are looking for improvements or action, let's say, on physical access. So how do we get in and out of our buildings? How do we move from floor to floor? But also when we think about accessibility and inclusivity, it's also considering location, recognizing that transportation can be a barrier in communities such as Tweed. And of course, I live in Leeds in the Thousand Islands, so I know exactly what's happening, right? When you've got to drive 45 minutes from one village or hamlet to the next to attend a program or have an opportunity for social engagement. But accessibility also includes affordability for residents, right? Recognizing the socioeconomics of the community and that we need to have affordable options available. Economic benefits is another huge thing that we realized here, because let me tell you, your outdoor environment is absolutely amazing here. And again, in every form of feedback that we received, people were commenting on opportunities to access nature, use trails. And when we say this, we're talking about year-round trail use, right? Skidooing in the winter, hiking and cycling or ATVing in the warmer months. And we see this as a real leverageable opportunity for the municipality of Tweed. We see recreation as a real economic driver. In fact, Kevin and I, through a lot of our previous work, are huge advocates for investment in rural recreation because of that return on investment in terms of increase to property value, which of course sort of helps pad the coffers a little bit. I did work in the municipal sector for 10 years, so some of that jargon and lingo is right there. But we do see opportunity with small investment to make marketable improvements here. And this would be things such as trailhead development, wayfinding signage, et cetera. So not insurmountable goals and initiatives. Again, and as referenced by your worship earlier this morning, of course, is that challenge of aging infrastructure. And of course, because you are so conversant in your asset management, because this is a legislative requirement at this particular point, right? People are becoming more conversant in this. And rest assured, Tweed is not alone in experiencing some of these challenges. Municipalities across the province of Ontario, of course, did not, back in the days of Wintario, when everybody got Centennial Park and a pool and an arena and everything else, there wasn't a lot of money to follow up, right, for life cycle planning and renewal. And this is really becoming a huge barrier for a lot of municipalities. We recognize, based on our research, that some tough decisions will need to be made, and that our goal moving into the next phase is to come up with some real strategic recommendations so that your investments moving ahead leverage your assets, make the most of the facilities over their entire life cycle. We'll be looking at things such as financial investments, maintenance and operation, and of course, programming options as well, to try to make sure that these spaces remain vital to the heartbeat of the community. And of course, linking with aging infrastructure is financial management. And so again, there's constant pressure on municipalities to enhance services, do more for residents, be there for every visitor who comes through the door. But we recognize that resources are limited. Municipalities are not bottomless purses. Really, our goal is to, reflect on past practices and some of the challenges, as municipalities sort of start to sharpen pencils moving ahead a little bit. What this looks like for us in terms of Parks and Recreation master planning, considering your large geographical footprint and the limited development that's been happening here, is how do we make recommendations to you that are small, incremental, but actually still have significant impact within the municipality? We also see this as an opportunity to give you guys something that's tangible that you can bite into and you can use to leverage. And Rochelle and I have had these conversations multiple times, how effective these documents are in helping you secure external, so sponsorships and grant funding, to help with those facility renewals or new program offerings and so on moving ahead. Just so you don't get tired of listening to me, I'm actually going to pass it back over to Kevin to walk through the next couple of slides with you.
Thanks, Kim. So certainly a number of trends, and Kim described this, I think, very well. In some of the work that we've done in other rural communities, the themes are very similar. I think it's important to share that. Many of the communities are experiencing very similar challenges, and certainly, and those will be, discussed moving forward through the recommendations. So I guess on maybe the softer side here of the trends is the trend of health and well-being. And so, when we work with organizations like Participation and Canadian Tire Jumpstart, or just, rural municipalities, the community does a great job in connecting with its residents here without questions. And certainly, many of the recreation spaces provided in Tweed, act as a place of active living, and certainly social connections are formed through, obviously through the parks, through the arena, through all the sports and the social activities that happen within the community. The other trend is that, again, I think is being experienced across Canada is this decline in volunteerism, which again is something that we heard in our research, that many volunteers are aging and have been really volunteering throughout their lives. And sort of this idea of how do we continue to attract volunteerism to continue to support, many of the sports recreation related activities that Tweed has been able to host for so many years. So again, I think moving forward, strategies and recommendations on how to explore that. The other trend again is around innovation, and many communities again I think are exploring different ways to share facilities, to partner, and to to collaborate. I think the great example here is the partnership with the YMCA. Works for the municipality, works for the YMCA as well. And we've seen that in other communities where they've been able to do that successfully. But again, even internally within the community, I think this is a real opportunity for, the flexible use of space. And that, again, I think is another significant trend. Couple more here, again, are the evolving service needs. And the example of the demographic profile here in Tweed is trying to adapt to serving older adults while continuing to try to attract young families, and support for housing is certainly an evolving service need that we will explore further again in the recommendations. The last trend and issue, I know there are many here, so thank you for your patience. But we're all experiencing environmental challenges as we come to the council chambers this morning with extreme heat, smoke, air quality, weather patterns, severe rain, storms, forest fires, less snow. All of these are significant challenges, not only for Tweed, but really across Canada. And so the plan moving forward will include discussions on recommendations with respect to the environment. We're just going to transition a bit to some of the survey results. We have them categorized again through parks, trails, and open spaces is the first one. And Kim sort of introduced this, I think, at the start as well. 96% of those surveyed regular users of the parks and green spaces. Again, satisfaction levels are high with parks, trails, and open spaces, with 67% are satisfied or very satisfied with these spaces. And certainly that was echoed through a lot of the conversations that we had. Tweed is very proud of its parks, trails, and open spaces, and that came through loud and clear. Some of the underutilized amenities included the disc golf and the beach volleyball. I think in some cases, feedback from the community was, again, trying to get people involved or volunteers or someone to take on the activity, and perhaps they would, increase in participation. The next slide, yeah, parks again, and speaking with people in the community, are very well maintained, and maintenance and cleanliness are our top priorities. I've already mentioned things around climate change, but certainly the community investment priorities again will come through the next phase of the plan, and exploring things like safety and accessibility, the idea of this pump track, which has been out there in the community. And new gathering spaces potentially for teens and youth was something that we heard a number of times as well. And so I'm just going to pass it back to Kim one last time to wrap it up.
Thanks, Kevin. Shifting a little bit now to indoor recreation facilities. You will see that generally your facilities are well used. In fact, 87% of survey participants are visiting indoor recreation facilities. So this would be spaces like the arena, like your community halls, and so on and so forth. Of particular note, of course, is the popularity of the community center and arena. It is the most frequent facility within the township, or municipality rather, and that during peak season, it is actually very heavily used, right? That period of October through March. When we look at the conservation and demand management plan, which sort of infers the number of available hours, you are just about at maximum capacity for the available hours. So short of investing more resources to increase your operational hours, right? That usage level is you're pretty much maxed out there at the moment. Again, with ball diamonds and soccer fields, I just wanted to sort of insert this here with utilization, even though I know Kevin just sort of spoke about those outdoor spaces. But again, in peak season, that they are being well used. However, outside of those like tournaments and more organized leagues and whatnot, that usage levels are maybe not as strong, which indicates that we do have room to make recommendations to support additional programming and events and opportunities there as well. Generally, people are very pleased with their indoor spaces. Now, we also want to recognize that as much as we try to do everything as service providers within the municipal sector, we can't always do everything and be everything to everyone. So that there is some out-migration to locations such as Madoc and Belleville, where people are using indoor recreational spaces in those locations. It generally comes back to the fact that it is for a program or service or space that is not offered here. So again, there currently isn't the pump track here. People are going out to use that. People want an opportunity to swim in the winter. We can't do that here at this particular junction. So those are those key drivers that motivate people to recreate outside of the community. But again, generally people are very satisfied with their facilities and spaces. A couple of the key things that residents indicate that they're looking for, of course, is continued modernization, safety and accessibility, as well as looking for opportunities for potentially new community space, right? So wiggle room, some of the comments, and I mean no disrespect to some of the spaces, non-municipal spaces in the community, but sometimes people are asked to do yoga in a basement of a particular space, which is not necessarily conducive when you don't have the right lighting or the right floor, for example. So what opportunities that we will be exploring as we sort of move ahead and move into recommendations. I do also want to note on this particular slide that some of the smaller external facilities are not heavily used, but again, that's not a reflection necessarily of the space. It is somewhat owing to the smaller populations in some of the satellite communities, right? As well as lack of programming opportunities. There isn't that event or program to necessarily draw people out. Again, Tweed has got to be really proud of its programming lineup. Some of the innovation that we've seen, particularly through COVID recovery, right? To obtain grant funding, to have pay-as-you-go programs, recognizing those economic barriers may exist for some, right? So huge props to staff in terms of delivery there. Over 3/4 of the population are participating in programming at least once a week here. Of course, hockey should come as no surprise as one of the most popular ones, but we're definitely seeing a surge in pickleball and some of those other sports as well. There are reported gaps in youth programming. Again, I live in a community where we don't have a high school right within our municipal borders, right? High school students traverse to one of 3 high schools outside of our community. So in terms of having that core audience that lives right here, I do appreciate that it can be a struggle. And so we're going to look at some best practices and lessons learned from other communities in terms of how we can sort of address that. We do recognize that communication or awareness is one of the larger barriers in terms of uptake and participation rates, and we will come forward with recommendations to address that. Again, in his opening, your worship referenced some of the great community events that are happening here, and let me tell you, survey responses show that these events are so well received in your community. Not only is it something that appeals to local residents, but is certainly also a draw for people coming from further afield. Of course, everyone was quick to come up with a few new ideas as well, food truck festivals and all of that sort of thing. So we'll be looking ahead to that as well. In terms of administration, we did ask about staff support and customer service. And Rochelle, please, I hope you are very proud of yourself and your team, because the feedback that we received in terms of responsiveness, uptake, engagement was absolutely phenomenal. So huge props to your staff here. Customer service, again, is absolutely exemplary here. Unfortunately, again, and please know that this is not uncommon in the municipality of Tweed, communications is a challenge. We recognize again that in certain municipalities, there isn't that single source of information, right? There's not one radio station and one newspaper. So that there are some challenges, particularly when we consider an older audience, lack of accessibility to technology. And so again, you will have a series of recommendations in terms of how we can address that with the hopes of increasing participation rates and, you know, in turn, some revenue opportunities there as well. Let me see. Finally, of note, we did ask through the survey how residents feel that recreation and park services should be funded. And generally that came down to residents indicating that it should be a shared cost, right? That the municipality shouldn't necessarily be looking for 100% cost recovery on recreational or soft services. There are some instances in which that may happen on a one-off basis, but as a whole, that this is something that a municipality offers to enhance quality of life, use it to attract residents, investments for business opportunities, so on and so forth. Nonetheless, there is a little bit of wiggle room. 40% of survey respondents indicate that they are willing to pay slightly higher user fees. But we also have to recognize that the fees that you are in fact charging right now are pretty in line with other municipalities within your neighborhood. But that 55% of people are willing to step up and volunteer, right, at a fundraising event and whatnot, so that there are other options that we can explore. And I'd just like to wrap up with a note to technology adoption, right? That we can use this to improve staff efficiencies, use it to help generate communications materials. This is something that we're doing every day on the job, is how can we better take advantage of tools that exist? How do we leverage AI to make us more efficient, for example? The other big thing about some of these technological tools is that it supports data collection. And this is one thing that the recreational service as a whole has not done well, is some of that bean counting. But the more that you have those numbers, so what are your usage statistics? What are your participation rates? What are your overall satisfaction rates, right? That can be really telling in moving ahead, and of course also support grant funding moving ahead. So that's sort of our overview in a nutshell. These are all the things that we've learned about the municipality of Tweed, what's working, what isn't working, where are those areas of focus. And really that brings us into our next step. So moving ahead, Kevin and I are going to look at all of this information. We are going to create a mission, vision, and set of guiding values for parks and recreation services here in the municipality of Tweed. We move from that to creating a number of strategic actions or directions. So these are the big moves that we want to look at in those 5 and 10-year thresholds, right? And that we're going to come up with an implementation plan. So a series of prioritized high, medium, and low priority actions that will help you realize your goals. We will make recommendations in terms of how you're going to fund the plan, what monitoring and evaluation you can do in terms of plan implementation over the term of its horizon. Once we sort of have those preliminary recommendations, our goal is to host an open house here, potentially in September if the stars align. And it gives us an opportunity to say, well, if we're recommending that, you know, that there's a giant new slide at this particular park, you know, does that align with your needs? Does the community feel that we've heard? Because when we come forward with this final list of recommendations, we want it to be really easy for Rochelle to come and stand in front of you and say, well, this is what we want to do. This is where we want to prioritize investment. And it actually reflects everything that we know about the community, and you know, aligns with what that vision and priorities are. When we have all of that pulled together, we will bring that forward to council. And at this particular point, we anticipate if we do an open house in September that we could maybe make the late October council meeting. So that's sort of our plan tentatively. I'm just going to kick it back over to Kevin, just in case I've missed any of those last details and whatnot.
Just wanted to take a moment to thank you all for the opportunity to work in Tweed. We've enjoyed meeting the people, working with everyone, and certainly put it out for any questions that anybody might have for us.
Well, if I may, first of all, thank you very much. That was a wonderful presentation, a wonderful report and update, and thank you for taking the time and working with our staff in the rec department. First of all, I want to mention that I'm grateful that you shared the contribution that our staff makes to this community in regards to recreation and all of its various components, and how respected and well thought of they are. Often people can be critical that we have too many people and they're not performing, and you've sort of just knocked that right off the table, and you've even accentuated the fact that they are operating at full capacity. Okay, so if we want to offer more and bigger things, we're going to need more people as well. And I'm sure that will come out in your presentation, but congratulations, Rochelle, to you and your team. We are extremely grateful for everything that you do and for all of the excellent programming that you provide. The other thing is that you mentioned Queensborough. You talked about some of the activities that some of the facilities might not be as used as much within our hamlet communities due to the size of the population. I just want to mention right now, Queensborough has a youth summer program, and we'll probably hear from them on that. Okay, but yeah, we do recognize that maybe it's not as many people are using the facilities, but the facilities in those communities are crucial to the survival of those communities. And I think you've mentioned that as well. Yeah. The other thing is we talked about accessibility, and from an accessibility perspective, we talked about distance transportation. And you're right. I sit as a representative of this council on the Central Hastings Support Network Transit Committee. And it's a huge issue for us, and trying to get funding for bus service and whatnot for people. And we are the largest municipality in Hastings County. And we have a lot of distance, and houses are spread quite a ways apart. So that being said, though, looking at accessibility, and you mentioned about people driving 40-45 minutes to get to a facility, one of the things that I would like to see us look at is a regional service. Okay, I've talked to other mayors, and not everybody, all of us cannot afford to have these wonderful rec departments. So they're prepared to, well, so they say they're prepared to look at a regional hub Now, that would be like somebody coming from Center Hastings, which would be probably a 15-minute drive, or maybe even Sterling, who can benefit from Belleville, but they might come up here for if we had a dual ice hockey pad, for example. They wouldn't have no longer have to maintain an arena in their community. So that means that these neighboring municipalities would help contribute to the overall financing and building of a new rec site, as well as helping pay annual maintenance fees and whatnot. These are things that perhaps we can look at and that have been tabled, because we all recognize that we cannot all continue to provide the current services that we are. For example, the mayor of Center Hastings, Tom DeLine, said if Tweed would look at building a rec center with a new rec pads, and what they would look at perhaps building an indoor pool. Different things like this to balance different things within our communities. I know that's an awful lot to throw at you. I guess like we can sit down and discuss it further. I can introduce you to some of the mayors if you want to follow up with them, what the thought process might be in this, or if that is just pie in the sky for everybody at this time. But again, I want to thank you. This has been a wonderful presentation, and I'm going to ask, does council have any comments before we move on? Okay, thank you very much. Okay.
Certainly. I should also point out, sorry, that somewhat belatedly, I did provide the full document to Rochelle. So what we provided today was a synopsis of the contents of this document. And I'm sure once Rochelle has had, I didn't give her much time, so please know that's totally on me. But when she has an opportunity to lay eyes on it, that I hope that you have the opportunity to review it as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Well done. Thank you. Okay. Yes, thank you. Moving on, departmental reports. Could I have a mover and a seconder to table the Chief Administrative Officer update for July 15th, 2025? Thank you, Deputy Mayor Demarche. Thank you, Councillor Valley-Cat. Over to you, Ron.
Thank you. And through the chair, just a few updates for this part of the meeting. Excuse me. I just wanted to indicate or bring in an update that the dog pound tender has been completed. The successful candidate this year is the Humane Society of Hastings, Prince Edward. They have helped us out in the past. Just a quick side note on that, it's a 1-year contract, and they have been indicating and asking or making us aware that they may be asking for us to start making payments towards cats. So in 2024, the Humane Society took in 45 cats from Tweed, and in 2023, 27 cats from the municipality of Tweed. So there is that looming, and we will have to manage that accordingly. Second update, we've signed an agreement with the Ministry of Community Safety and Correctional Services Center Hastings OPP to designate the municipal building that we're sitting in as the alternate service delivery location. So in the case of an emergency and they can't operate out of one of their other offices, they have asked that they could come here and utilize this agreement. This is not a new agreement. This has happened in the past, and it just continues on with that relationship. I just want to put out a great big thank you to our staff. We have partnered with the Ontario Clean Water Agency and have applied for the Health and Safety Water Stream Grant. This is a grant that will cover a scope of work that includes bringing our second well online with our water treatment system and increasing some of the amenities inside the water treatment by bringing in a second media tank to help us filtrate some of the items that come up through the groundwater. We will be advised if we're successful by October of this year. But again, I just want to emphasize that this was a full staff effort, and this grant got in on time. And we're very excited and hopeful that the results will be positive. Just a reminder that we need to schedule a second meeting, probably just a half a day, to continue on with our asset tour of the municipality. A few suggested dates that coincide with staff availability is July 25th, July 28th, and July 29th. And again, as I mentioned, a half day would be required. And lastly, not in the report, but just something I was asked to bring up. But we are working on our property standards bylaw to address vacant businesses in Tweed. Staff will be meeting on July 28th to go over the draft, and we will most likely be bringing that back to council for approval in either August or the September meeting.
Thank you. Thank you. First of all, in speaking with Aqua and our team here that we're working on an application, that we have an amazingly strong application at this time. There is no reason why we should be denied. So this is one way for the province to step forward and ensure that we are being represented with provincial financial dollars, because our application, in accordance with what the criteria were, is extremely strong. So thank you very much to the team and to Aqua for putting forth an amazing application. Secondly, could we take a moment just to decide when we would do the second half of our asset management tour? Now, there were a couple of dates tabled by CAO Diski. Are there any that do not work for anybody at this time? And would this be a morning or afternoon? I guess whatever works for people. So is there, yes, go ahead.
Your worship, I have an appointment on the 25th
Okay, let's.
in the morning.
Okay,
I could
so-
do the afternoon.
Okay, so far the morning on the 25th is out. Anything else? Okay, so
I can't do the 29th.
you can't do the 29th. What if we do the 25th in the afternoon? Or would you prefer morning?
I'm likely not available for any.
Okay. So, would people prefer morning or afternoon?
Planning's on the 25th of the morning.
Okay.
I got an appointment then.
So would the people prefer the morning or the afternoon? For those who are doing it.
Morning would be
Okay.
cooler.
Let's
Probably.
do the 28th in the AM, if that's okay with everyone. 28th in the AM.
8 o'clock, 8:30.
Oh, right. Let's say 8, what time would you guys prefer, the staff prefer? 8:30. 8:30 it is. And we'll follow the same process we did last time. So 28th AM, at 8:30 AM. Thank you. Okay. Be it resolved that council received the chief, oh yes, please go ahead.
Your worship, if I might speak to the Humane Society,
Go ahead.
like we were involved in the cat situation before. We don't have a licensing, we don't license cats. We were, I hate to throw a number out there, but I think we were $5,000 running around picking up cats. We can't afford to get into that situation. So, as much as I would like to help the Humane Society in their efforts, we sure can't get involved with that.
Thank you for raising that. That is a discussion that I've had with CAO Diski. We do have a number of groups within our community that try and take care of feral cats
Yep.
and whatnot. And we should encourage them and support them as much as we can, but we agree. So
Okay.
we'll leave that right now.
Okay.
The contract has been negotiated for this year, the coming year. And then we'll just, I think CAO Diski's also made it known to them that this is likely something that we wouldn't do, but that's where we stand. Okay.
Okay.
Any other questions, comments? Seeing none. Be it resolved that council receive the chief administrator update report as presented. The date set for the balance of the asset management tour is tour for Monday, July 28th at 8:30 AM. All in favor? Thank you. Department reports. Okay, moving on to the clerk again. Could I have a mover and a seconder to table the integrity commissioner appointment? Thank you, Councillor Fleeler. Thank you, Councillor Valiquette. Thank you, Councillor Fleeler. Okay, I think the report is pretty self-explanatory. Are there any questions on the report as tabled? Yes, please go ahead, Deputy Mayor Demarche.
I just wasn't, through the mayor, I just wasn't sure if we already had him in place, why is it necessary to bring it back? I mean, the other one's quite a bit higher, so.
It is. The reason I brought it forward is the County of Hastings just recently renegotiated their contract. And as part of that contract, it opened up to all of the municipalities that they could also obtain the services of the one that they hired. So I just wanted council to be aware that they had an option if they wanted to change the provider.
So that's what it is. We're responding to a request. Okay, any other questions? Seeing none, be it resolved that council received the Integrity Commissioner appointment report as presented, which was very well done. Thank you. And further that bylaw 2019-15 remain in place with the appointment of John Ewert O'Dwyer as Integrity Commissioner for the municipality of Tweed. All in favor? Thank you. Could I have a move and a seconder to table the Public Works Department update from July 15th, 2025? Thank you, Councillor Valiquette. Thank you, Deputy Mayor Demarche. Any questions on said report? Okay, seeing none. Be it resolved that council accept the Public Works Department update of July 15th, 2025 as presented. All in favor? Thank you. Could I have a move and a seconder to table the River Street and College Street intersection report? Thank you, Deputy Mayor Demarche. Thank you, Councillor Valiquette. Discussion? Yes, Deputy Mayor Demarche.
Yeah, so, yeah, okay. Sorry, I was making sure I had it right. It's something like similar that we done on Hungerford Road.
Through the chair to the deputy mayor, we can investigate that and look if we can do something similar there as well.
It's just that I think you're saying things there, you know, so maybe something.
Councillor Palmetier, then Councillor Fleeler.
Your worship, I'm just trying to clarify, like we're putting, this is a stoplight,
Stop sign.
stop signs,
Yeah, anyway, stop.
and where did the need for this arise, your worship? That's where I'm having difficulty with this.
We've had, for one thing, we've had a number of people saying when you're coming over that hill, it is dangerous. We've had a number of people reporting on that. Can't see. But anyway, I'm going to turn it over to Ryan. Could you speak to that? Thank you.
Through the chair, if you read the report, it was about a month ago there that our pedestrian crosswalk had been hit by some sort of vehicle anyway, and it was basically destroyed at this point. It's aged out, so we can't find parts for it anymore. It's basically an obsolete unit at this point. I reached out to our insurance company and replace it with something similar that we have on, say, Victoria Street. It'd be our deductible, so essentially $15,000. So I have spoken with some residents that use that currently as a crosswalk, and you know, there's still issues with using that crosswalk because you are coming over that hill and you in the last minute. So there is, again, it's a perception thing about speeding through there, but I think for the maintenance cost of what this is, it would reduce speeding. It would create a safe stopping area and allow pedestrians to cross safely. So my recommendation would be to install this three-way stop sign for $918 instead of tens of thousands.
Thank you.
Yeah. Do you want me to finish now?
Yeah,
Or did I-
please, no, you go ahead.
Your worship, I just, in the past year, we have added a lot of stop signs, and we have added all these stop signs with the same thing without factual research. We're really changing the flow in the municipality, and whether you can see or can't see the crosswalk coming over, there's going to be issues with people who aren't residents and aren't used to the area with that stop sign when you come over the hill as well. And if you have one or two people stopped there and somebody comes over that hill, now you've backed it up and you've created an issue for somebody maybe getting rear-ended or pushing into traffic.
Is there any possibility? I have seen a community stop sign ahead.
Through the mayor, yeah. Typically, when you put these up, you always, if it's a new sign, you put up a new sign in front of that as well. So we can put stop signs, stop ahead signs as well. There'd be an additional cost, but that'd be something we could do as well.
Okay, thank you. Over to you, Councillor Fleeler.
I agree with Councillor Palmetier. The money we've spent, I first of all, safety is number one, but routinely we've gone to the OPP to get reports, accident reports, different things. in this instance, we haven't done that. The issue up on, I think, College and I don't know if it's Quimalac there or Hungerford Road, the line of sight isn't there. I would be afraid to put a stop sign there. And I know other instances where they've installed stop signs out in the rural community. They don't even stop. They don't even bother. They just drive right through them. And it's a bylaw. If they get caught, they're gonna get a ticket, but oh well, they don't, all this money that we spent without the background information, as Councillor Bombardier says, it's
So
You know
are you
what-
recommending that we put back in the crosswalk that was there?
well, like we're in between a rock and a hard place. I do like public safety, but what information do we need to put a stop sign there?
No, but okay, if we don't put a stop sign, do you want to spend what, $15,000-$20,000 on putting in a new crosswalk?
Well, we don't have that $15,000 right now. So,
So
if
would
you,
this
if
be
you look
a-
at it one way or the other, it's cheaper to put a stop sign in, but what information do we need before we install a stop sign? And this,
Regardless of the information, regardless of the
Yeah.
information that we need in this particular case, we had a crosswalk.
yeah,
Okay, so we're trying to find a cost-effective way of dealing with that
Yep.
situation. So even if the information says, well, we, it might not be necessary, that means then we have to put in a crosswalk.
yeah.
And this
So,
gets back to your saying that we spend money on things that weren't in the budget.
yeah,
okay.
but I mean, this is a safety thing too as well. And if there's a stop sign there, it would give the people an opportunity to cross the road safely.
That's right.
And there is a better line of sight there, but the other instance on the Quimalac Road, you come
Sure.
around the corner and down the hill and you don't have the line of sight right there, but 13,000 or 1,000,
No,
I mean,
more than
it's on,
13.
well,
How much did you think it was? It was,
Through the mayor, so I think our deductible through insurance was $15,000. I'm not sure exactly what we paid on those ones in Victoria Street, but I'd imagine quite a bit.
yeah.
Probably well
the
over
deductible
15.
was 15.
Yeah.
Okay, so, and how did that sign get ripped out of there? Like somebody must have seen what happened. And you know what? Probably the guy that hit it didn't know he hit it. So I mean, typically they would have stopped and said, you know what? I ripped your sign out. We need to fix it. But so, like I said, we're in between a rock and a hard place. $918 or
15.
15,000 deductible and whatever else we have to pay is out of the question really right now.
Councillor Valakut.
So I'll be very quick, but so many of these traffic things, because we're not getting active support or we don't have current data, we base our decisions on anecdotal information. And that isn't necessarily wrong, but we put a certain amount of faith in staff to provide us with direction based on their experience and what's going on out there. And I'm not talking specifically about College and River, but just about anywhere in the municipality. So I guess I want to just say that ultimately I trust Ryan to come to us with good decisions that will be safe for everybody entering into that particular area, that will provide safety for residents and other vehicles on the road. And for $918 versus potentially $15,000 or more, we have a quick solution that should be safe. If we find out down the road that it's not something that is adequate or needs to be changed or modified, then we can revisit it at that time.
Thank you. Yes, Deputy Member Marshall.
Yeah, so, to address another problem coming down Hungerford Road, I wouldn't suggest it to be at College, I'd more suggest it be at Park. A little further down, or maybe a conversion to, I know you guys don't like them, but speed bumps. Just for what the feedback we've got on the farm equipment, so I think those, if you're gonna look at three-way, it has to go down the park, or the conversion to a speed bump. That's my opinion.
And one more comment on this, and then we both go ahead.
Okay, your worship, I don't agree with the speed bumps in that instance. I don't want to say this out loud, but I will. I saw a guy coming down the hill and it's a perception, but actually the guy was coming down the hill through the school zone doing at least 60 miles an hour. Him and I had a little chat. He was on a four-wheeler standing up. So if you hit a speed bump with anything, doing anything over even at the speed limit, you're gonna be in trouble. I do think that the speed bumps applied in different situations are an answer, but in that instance, I don't agree. And especially there, like the people coming into Tweed. And we also have 3 speed signs that are inoperable right now. And I don't want to spend the money fixing them. We spent thousands of dollars fixing them. But like I said, we keep spending money after money after money and we get nowhere. But I will support the stop sign issue if that's.
Okay, and then, yes, please go ahead, CEO Diskey.
Through the chair, I'm just going to request that if you want staff to look at other areas, if you could put a motion forward in the form that you would like us to investigate and report back on best options for a certain area that's a concern at this time. Thank you.
I don't think we're changing areas. Really?
But we can't use the speed bumps up
We're
there.
not changing areas of where we're looking at, we're just looking at
Some way
alternative
to-
options.
Some way to stop.
I don't think the areas, it's just on the top, especially on the in the ulterior routes coming in. Like especially Crooks Road, Grimlock Road.
Sorry, go ahead.
It's just a little confusing, so we just need specifics. If you can tell us what you want us to look at, we're more than happy to take a look at an area. I know we're talking about, and I'm not, maybe it's up my fault because I'm not very familiar with all the roadways here yet. But we would just like to, if you want us to look at a specific area, we would love to take a look at it and just come back with some recommendations.
I think then what we're looking at is, of course, proceeding with the stop sign at River and College, but also looking at what calming devices that you might be able to use in regards onto, is it Quinmalack? Hungerford Road, right now where we have the issue with the farmers. Okay, what are some of the options that we can do to address that issue with the farmers? Leaving it at that for now. And yes,
Your worship, it's almost a proven fact that these calming devices don't work. The speed monitors were at Hungerford, Quinmalack, Crookston, North 37, people still speed. Like these things haven't been operable for some time, but I think my heart feels that the only way to slow this down is education number one and lay some paper.
I think we've already made a recommendation of
We have,
one
we
of
have.
yours to look at that, so that is
Okay,
being done.
okay,
I think right now there is talk about putting in a 3-way stop sign, which we're looking at doing. And then looking at other calming devices, doesn't mean we're doing them on Hungerford Road, but that will be coming back to us as well as a presentation. And yes, Councillor Palmetier.
Just briefly, your worship, as we look at other intersections, like not every intersection has to have a crosswalk or a crossing at it. And I think as we look around at these different scenarios, we need to reevaluate if there's safe places for people to cross.
Yeah.
Sometimes we are recommending, by putting these in place, we are recommending for people to cross in an unsafe place. So just as we move forward, just something to caution.
Thank you. Okay, so the motion is, be it resolved that council accept the River Street West and College Street intersection report as presented and direct staff to convert this intersection into a 3-way stop with stop ahead signs being installed for notification of the new stop signs. And further, that staff investigate the same conversion to a 3-way stop at the intersection at Hungerford Road and Park Avenue or other speed calming devices at this location. And further, that staff bring forward a bylaw at a future council meeting to implement the proposed changes. All in favor? Thank you. Okay, good discussion. Now, Councilor Valiquette, I know you have to leave, as you just go when you gotta go, okay?
Thank you.
Could I have a mover and a seconder to table the community development update, please? Mover and a seconder. Thank you, Deputy Mayor DeMarsh. Thank you, Councilor Palmetier. Are there, I guess, are there any questions? I'll turn it over to you, Rochelle, if there's anything that you would like to bring out in your report.
You have the community development report in front of you. If there's any questions, just let us know. As you can see, the pole on municipal property near the arena, fairgrounds, and Land O'Lakes Curling Club. Jay has been great in getting quotes for this, and you can see that there is quite a bit of a cost. The CAO has reached out to me to see if there was any funding out there available. At this time, I cannot find any funding that is available. This is something that council is going to have to look at budgeting in the 2026 budget. And we may be able to get some funding from the Save on Energy program. But as you know, grants, we can't always rely on grants. I also want to make note that at this time, there has been no mention of it being a liability or anything like that that I'm aware of.
Because it's sort of been brought to my attention that, and I think you commented, the pole, even though it's got a lean to it, is still very, very secure.
Yes, that's
Okay, so if we're doing it, it's more just in case something should happen, God knows down the road or whatever, but right now it's okay. It's not like we got to get it addressed.
yeah, it is not, as far as I know and what I've been giving, it is not a safety concern at this time. It should be replaced in the future, but we do not need to address it today.
Thank you. Just go ahead.
Your worship, could I get permission to go and speak to the tech responsible for the hydro infrastructure?
How about you provide that information to the CAO, and then the CAO can undertake to do that for us.
Okay,
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 if you've got a name.
okay,
You?
yeah,
Okay.
and okay, good.
Thank
Yep,
you.
Thank you.
Okay, be it resolved that council receive the community development update as presented. All in favor? Thank you. Could I have a mover and a seconder to table the Parks and Recreation Department update, please? Mover and a seconder. Thank you, council.
Oh, sorry.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor DeMarsh. Thank you, Councilor Valiquette. Any questions on said report? Seeing none. Excuse me. Be it resolved that council receive the Parks and Recreation Department update as presented. All in favor? Thank you. Could I have a mover and a seconder to table the updated draft Tweed, Hungerford, Community Center policy and procedures? Mover and a seconder, please. Thank you, Councilor Fiedler. Thank you, Councilor Valiquette. Any questions on the policy? Seeing none, be it resolved the council approve the updated Tweed Hungerford Community Center policy and procedures. All in favor? Thank you. Could I have a mover and a seconder to table the fire department update, please? Thank you, Deputy Mayor DeMarsh. Thank you, Councilor Palmetier. Any questions on said fire department update? Is there anything in particular you would like to draw our attention to, Derek?
No, through the chair, just at the burn conditions right now, just it's very extremely dry out there. We still have our restricted burn ban on 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. campfires only. We'll be following that very closely. The M&R's numbers are getting very, very high. We're into very high again. We could be looking at in the next, if it continues to go weird, we'll be going to a full burn ban here within the next week if it doesn't, we don't get some more precipitation. So just everybody be very careful out there because it is extremely dry, and there's been some other communities that's had some pretty good grass fires from because it is very dry and there's not a lot of water source around. So
Okay,
just be
thank
very
you.
careful. That's fine.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions? Be it resolved the council receive the fire department update as presented. All in favor? Thank you. Could I have a mover and a seconder to table the animal control officer June 2025 livestock animal control and livestock investigation report? Mover and a seconder, please. Thank you, Councilor Valiquette. Thank you, Councilor Fiedler. Any questions on that report? Yes, please go ahead, Councillor Freeland.
Your worship, just a little update, return to Stoker Road. I think we have to start charging these people.
I thought
And
we
I
had
think,
agreed that
and
we
I
were.
think we did, I think we did agree to that too, so just maybe we need to.
Do we have to pass a bylaw or something that says we're allowed?
Well-
Because we did say, like, even for when we take these dogs to the pound and people go get them, that we charge them when we find out who the owner is.
Yes, we've been doing that.
Okay.
If we get the report back that we know who the owner is, they are receiving fines.
Okay,
And they're being sold if they don't have a dog tag, they are being sold at the pound when
Okay.
they're picked up.
is there any way that we could get an update? Like, when we don't have to say the individuals or anything, but what we have charged out in regards to dog tags and what we've charged out in regards to pickup and delivery of a dog to a pound.
I can, and I think in previous ones, if I have the information at the time of doing the report, I do include that a fine has been issued or whatever the case may be. I may not have had that at this point.
Okay, yes, I guess you could just add it to this one, like, when you have the total cost of and then cost recovered underneath it, just to sort of give us an idea. Okay,
Okay.
thank you. Any other questions on said report? Seeing none, be it resolved that council receive the June 2025 Animal Control and Livestock Investigation Report as presented. All in favor? Thank you. Okay, can I move in a seconder to table the salt management plan update? Move in a seconder, please. Thank you, Councillor Valiquette. Thank you, Deputy Mayor Demarche. Any questions on that update? Seeing none. Be it resolved that council accept the updated salt management plan as presented, and further that staff bring forward a bylaw at future council meeting to implement the updated plan. All in favor? Thank you. Could I have a move and a seconder to table the Municipality of Tweed Vacation Entitlement Bylaw number 2023-25, please? A mover and a seconder. Mover and thank you, Councillor Fleeler. Seconder, please. Thank you, Councillor Valiquette. Any questions on that bylaw? I mean, on that change? Seeing none. Thank you very much for bringing that forward. Be it resolved that council accept the updates to bylaw number 2023-25 as presented, and further that staff bring forward an amending bylaw at a future council meeting. All in favor? Thank you. Committee board reports. Okay, can I have a mover and a seconder to table the building inspection services April 2025 building permits report and statement of revenue and expenditures as of April 30th, 2025. A mover and a seconder, please. Thank you, Councillor Fleeler. Thank you, Deputy Mayor Demarche. Any questions on said report? Seeing none, be it resolved that council receive the building inspection services board report as presented. All in favor? We have a series of bylaws. Could I have a mover and a seconder to table bylaw number 2025-60, a bylaw to authorize the disposition and transfer of the land operated by the Center and South Hastings Waste Services Board, and for which title is registered in the name of the municipality of Tweed as to its respective share. Could I have a mover and a seconder, please? Thank you, Councillor Valiquette. Thank you, Councillor Palmetier. Any questions on that? Yes, Councillor Fielding.
Your worship. I know we can't hang on this property, but what happens if it's proven that we went in the wrong direction? And I got an update again this morning about a commercial business, and what do we do? I don't know what to do. I don't know what to say.
We, at this point, we are being instructed by the province to follow in a new process. This is part of that process. And if there are complications, we just make sure that everybody knows it's not on us. Okay.
Okay.
Any other questions? Yes, Deputy Mayor
And just
Marshall.
following up with you, Mayor, too, that the appropriate contact info was provided to those residents or those businesses where they contact with their issues, the proper governing body, whatever that is, I can't remember who it is. So that they get the contact, they get that feedback. Because we're not involved now, so.
But we've also
If
been,
you see where I'm going with this.
but we've been directing people to reach out to MPP Brise, that he's the one that is part of the government who has come up with this new way of dealing with waste recycling. And we are removed. Okay, we don't have a say, and so that's who people can contact. Okay. Be it resolved that bylaw number 2025-60 being a bylaw to authorize the disposition and transfer of the land operated by the Center and South Hastings Waste Services Board be read a first, second, third, and final time, passed, signed, and sealed in open council this 15th day of July 2025. All in favor? Thank you. Could I have a mover and a second to table bylaw number 2025-62, a bylaw to amend the procedural bylaw for the municipality of Tweed to repeal bylaw number 2023-56. Could I have a mover and a seconder, please? Thank you, Deputy Mayor Demarche. Thank you, Councillor Palmetier. Any questions on that bylaw? Yes, Deputy Mayor Demarche.
To the mayor, just to the clerk, when we get these amendments like this, I'd like to see where the changes happen instead of having to hunt for it. Like, what the old bylaw looked like in the new one, so that we can compare.
I can add the original bylaw at the time. This was just a request from council that was brought forward to change the closed
We
meeting
want
to
change
the end.
closed meeting to the end of the meeting.
To the
No,
end of
I
the meeting,
I
but,
really hadn't looked for what was amended. I didn't know what the original looked like.
okay,
And if the old one was there, maybe the highlight or something where the change happened.
sure,
So, not trying to figure out what the change is.
I can do that.
Yes,
Or, your worship, even if we put it in bold or underlined it in red, that's all we need.
That's right, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
thank you very much. Be it resolved that bylaw number 2025-62, being a bylaw to amend the procedural bylaw for the municipality of Tweed and to repeal bylaw number 2023-56 be read a first, second, third, and final time, passed, signed, and sealed in open council this 15th day of July 2025. All in favor? Just so everybody knows what we're referring to here is we are just moving the closed session meeting from earlier to the end of the meeting, so as people don't have to wait for us during the session. But that will not happen today. That will happen for the next meeting. Bylaw, could I have a move and a seconder to table bylaw number 2025-63, a bylaw to amend bylaw 2005-51, being a bylaw to provide for the billing and collecting of water and sewer charges in the municipality of Tweed and to repeal bylaw number 2024-06. Move and a seconder, please. Thank you, Councillor Pompey. Here, thank you, Councillor Valley-Cat. Any questions on said bylaw? Excuse me. Be it resolved that bylaw number 2025-63, being a bylaw to amend bylaw 2005-51 to provide for the billing and collecting of water and sewer charges in the municipality of Tweed and to repeal bylaw number 2024-06 be read a first, second, third, and final time, passed, signed, and sealed in open council this 15th day of July 2025. All in favor? Thank you. Could I have a mover and a seconder to table bylaw number 2025-64, a bylaw to convey property on Metcalf Street, Jameson Street, and Victoria Street North for road widening purposes? A mover and a seconder, please. Thank you, Councillor Palmetier. Thank you, Councillor Fleeler. Any questions on said bylaw? Yes, Deputy Mayor.
Now, this one and the other one confuse me. So we're giving them, we're making them convey a road widening, and then the next bylaw, we've got an encroachment agreement. I don't understand what's going on.
Yeah, so through the chair to all of council, it's kind of a different one here. So when I reviewed the plan and was working with the lawyers, I kind of had those same questions as well as to, does this make sense for us to actually do this? So I conferred with our senior planner at Hastings County on some of the pros and the cons of actually entering into the road widening, particularly along Jameson Street. We had a discussion surrounding future redevelopment of that lot if it ever is redeveloped. The additional road widening will allow us to have ownership for appropriate on-street parking. I know we just established some restricted parking on the north side of that street. So in the future, we'd actually be able to establish some proper on-street parking, as well as move the infrastructure that's located in the boulevard now to a more appropriate location in a road redesign, and in the off chance that in the future down the road that site gets redeveloped. At the end of that conversation, the pros outweighed the cons of us taking the road widening. And as a final step, met with our CAO, and we ended up conferring with our municipal lawyer to just make sure that this made sense from both a planning perspective and a legal and liability perspective. And we've taken the appropriate clauses in the encroachment agreement to ensure that the municipality is covered. and that we won't be doing any maintenance or repair as a result of the ownership of the road widening.
Kinda. So, it's like, we're taking it as part of your widening, but it's okay for your building back. So I looked at both and I thought, what's going on here? But anyways, so I guess my question, what spurred the whole road widening thing? Like, is there an application or?
No, so through the mayor to all of council, it's a general condition that's applied to all land consents that we do take road widening. It's in our severance bylaw. So it was applied like any other condition was. And when the survey work was completed, it was found that the existing road widening and where the property line happened to be was right where the edge of the building was on that property. So we really didn't know exactly where those lines exactly were until the survey work's complete. And that comes more towards the end of the consent process when we found out these are the actual locations of things. Usually it's just a chunk of land or grass, right? But in this case, it's not. It's there's a building there.
Was this discussed at the last council meeting?
No,
No.
No, not in this detail. The severance would have been discussed months ago at a council meeting, no.
Okay. Okay, I know what you mean.
I just have one follow-up. The applicants, what was their thoughts on the whole process? I'm thinking, cause they've got their building there, it's obviously gonna be right on the edge.
Yeah, so we've been working with their lawyer through the process. They've been very amicable to all the conditions that we've asked for. I think we removed one provision, and that was it. So they've been good.
Thank you. Any further questions? Okay, so being it resolved that bylaw number 2025-64 being a bylaw to convey property on Metcalfe Street, Jameson Street, and Victoria Street North for road widening purposes be read at first, second, third, and final time, passed, signed, and sealed in open council this 15th day of July 2025. All in favor? Thank you. Could I have a move and a second to table bylaw number 2025-65, a bylaw to authorize municipality of Tweed to enter in an encroachment agreement with 1059231 Ontario Inc. Move in a seconder, please. Thank you, Councillor Palmetier. Thank you, Councillor Valiquette. Any questions? Seeing none. Be it resolved that bylaw number 2025-65, being a bylaw to authorize municipality of Tweed to enter an encroachment agreement with 1059231 Ontario Inc. be read a first, second, third, and final time, passed, signed, and sealed in open council this 15th day of July 2025. All in favor? Thank you. Could I have a mover to second at the table? Bylaw number 2025-66, a bylaw to amend bylaw number 2021-34, being a bylaw to provide for the issuance of building permits, demolition permits, plumbing permits, change use permits, sewage system permits, and swimming pool permits, and to set fees for same, and to repeal bylaw number 2023-67. The updates to Schedule A is an administrative amendment in paragraph M by adding a nuisance inspection fee. Could I have a move and a second to get that on the table? Thank you, Deputy Mayor Lamarche. Thank you, Councillor Valiquette. Any questions on that report? Yes, Councillor Freedom.
Your worship, I don't know if I support this myself. We keep increasing the fees. We don't get any money for these things. It seems that it's all monies that are required to support the employees and the accounting. And that's it. So I don't know why we would need more.
You mean for the building inspection aspect of it?
Yeah.
I guess if those fees coming in reduce our overall amount of money that we have to contribute. If we didn't have an increase in the fees, then maybe what we would be seeing as costs go up, our costs would have to go up. Because we do fund, we have our share.
Okay.
Anybody else? Seeing none, be it resolved that bylaw number 2025-66 be a bylaw to amend bylaw number 2021-34, being a bylaw to provide for the issuance of building permits, demolition permits, plumbing permits, change of use permits, sewage system permits, and swimming pool permits, and to set fees for same and to repeal bylaw number 2023-67 be read a first, second, third, and final time passed, signed, and sealed in open council this 15th day of July 2025. All in favor? Thank you. Items for consideration. Could I have a mover and a seconder to table Trudeau's resort request of support letters with the Tweed Stampede for the Canadian Armed Forces aircraft to fly below 500 feet and the temporary extension of Trudeau Resort and Banquet Hall liquor sales license? A mover and a seconder, please. Thank you, Councillor Palmetier. Thank you, Councillor Valiquette. Any questions on that? Seeing none. Be it resolved that council agrees to provide a support letter for the Canadian Armed Forces aircraft fly by below 500 foot during the Tweed Stampede's opening ceremonies on August 30th and 31st. And further, that council agrees to provide a letter of no objection to Trudeau's Resort and Banquet Hall for a temporary extension to the liquor license for service in the outdoor area behind the main resort at the following municipality significant event, Tweed Stampede in Jamboree on Friday, April 29th, 2025 from 1 p.m. till 2 a.m. Saturday, August 30th, 2025 from 11 a.m. to 2 a.m. and Sunday, August 31st, 2025 from 11 a.m. to 2 a.m. All in favor? Thank you. Could I have a mover and a seconder to table the City of Meadow Lake, Saskatchewan, an opportunity to renew our cross-Canada friendship that began in 1978 with the twinning of our two towns? Could I have a mover and a seconder to get that on the table? Thank you, Deputy Mayor Marsh. Thank you, Councillor Flaler. I had no idea that we were twinned with this. Did anybody?
I remember.
You do remember this? Okay, I had no idea. Anyway, I think it's a wonderful idea, and they've approached us. Are there any questions? Seeing none, be it resolved that the municipality of Tweed accept the invitation to rekindle the twinning of our two towns and look at ways to celebrate this relationship. All in favor? Thank you. Excuse me. Could I have a move and a seconder to table the Minister of Infrastructure read July 2025 requirement asset management planning deadline, which we've discussed. Thank you, Councillor Palmetier. Thank you, Councillor Valiquette. Any questions on this based on our communique? Yes, go ahead, Councillor Fleeler. Make sure it's not something you've already talked about today. So go ahead.
Your worship, I know this is a necessity, but why do we have to continue? I know this is a necessity, but why do we have to continue spending tax dollars when we don't receive any funding? That's the only thing I can say. I know it's important. It's a requirement, but we need the money.
Well, we're likely going to hear from them based on our response that we're going to be sending. Any other questions on that? Thank you. Be it resolved that council directs staff to notify the ministry that we will be submitting our existing asset management plan with our current service levels, knowing this from time to time adjustments will have to be made and that the municipality will continue to seek financial assistance from the provincial government to help provincial and federal government to help address the funding requirements for asset needs. All in favor? Thank you. Okay, we are going to be moving into a closed meeting. Could I have a mover and a seconder to move into close, please? Thank you, Deputy Mayor Marsh, and thank you, Councillor Flaler. Be it resolved that council go into a closed meeting, Lori, at 10:54. 10:54. All in favor. Thank you.
Thank you.
See you, Jamie. Could I have a mover and a seconder for the notification of closed meeting and staff decision, please? Thank you, Councillor Valiquette. Thank you, Councillor Fleer. Be it resolved that staff follow council direction from the closed meeting. All in favor? Thank you. Could I have a mover and a seconder to table correspondent information, please? Thank you, Deputy Mayor DeMarche. Thank you, Councillor Palmetier. Is there anything that anybody, just let me go up to my little note here, wanted to bring forward? Okay, 1696 is one. Oh, this is about their new RED program and helping. We were looking at trying to figure out what we might be able to apply for in this when I approached CIO Diskey and Rochelle, and the comment was made, well, you have to come up with a certain amount of dollars. Okay, when you look at component on page 2 of that, it says business development. Projects that support small brick and mortar businesses in rural Ontario with between 1 to 20 employees. Applicants can apply for up to 10,000. Where you have to 35% cost share. We have our CIP money, which is directly related to supporting our businesses. That can be our share if we can apply for the other amount, whatever we're allowed to.
We'd be able to use our total CIP
That's
share contribution.
That's right. So can we look at CO Diskey reaching out to Rochelle and seeing if we can link it to our CIP as our contribution, and then we apply for the whatever amount we're allowed to apply for. Okay, and then I have, another one. I think it's in relation to 16.99, which is the Northern Ontario town that I referred to in my mayor's comments, which talks about the situation that community is facing, and one that I'm sure we're going to hear much more about as the situation worsens for rural municipalities across this, not only this province, but this country. Is there anything else anybody would like to bring forward? Yes, Councillor Valiquette. 1673. Yes, that's fine. Can I have, do we do these? I'm sorry, do we pull them all out and then do a mover and a seconder? Okay, so that one, is there anything else anybody would like to raise? Seeing none at this time. Okay, so. Okay. That's right. Okay, so we've had a mover and a seconder. Be it resolved that correspondence information be received and filed. All in favor? Thank you. Could I have a mover and a seconder to table direct staff to investigate the use of our CIP to apply for the ROD funding as set out in item 1696? Thank you, Councillor Palmetier. Thank you, Deputy Mayor DeMarche. Any questions on? Seeing none? All in favor? And could I also have a mover and a seconder to direct staff to support resolution 16.7.3 from the town of Cobourg, was it? Okay, can I move in a second? Oh, that was moved by Councillor Valiquette. Could I have a seconder? Thank you, Deputy Mayor DeMarche. Be it resolved that council direct staff to follow through on 16.7.3. All in favor? Thank you. And yes.
Your worship, I also had 1672 strong marriage powers to be opposition to the strong marriage powers from
No, we
did that.
have done that. Yeah.
I think we have.
Yeah, we've done, we issued our own
Yeah.
in regards to that. Okay, thank you. Any other questions, comments? Seeing none. Okay. Could I have a move and a seconder for the conformatory bylaw, please? Thank you, Councillor Palmetier. Thank you, Councillor Valiquette. Be it resolved that conformatory bylaw number 2025-67 be read a first, second, and third and final time passed, signed, and sealed in open council this 15th day of July 2025. All in favor? Thank you. And could I have a mover and seconder to adjourn today's meeting? Thank you, Councillor Palmetier. Thank you, Councillor Valiquette. Be it resolved that council adjourn at, Lori, 11:20. Thank you, all in favor. Okay, thank you.